Okay, my name's Victoria Motley and I'm one of the solicitors here at Forbes Solicitors. I specialise in trusts and in particular helping clients who need to protect their compensation. So today's webinar is about how you can make the most out of your personal injury award and your compensation and how to protect it, particularly if you are in receipt of means tested benefits or if you think you might need that support in the future. So today I've got one of our clients, Mr. Bennett, and he is going to be asking some questions and hopefully that'll give you some answers.
I've recovered some compensation, but I'm on benefits. What are the limits on what I can hold?
Okay, so if you have more than £6,000 in your bank account, then this will affect your means tested state benefits. Anything that you have over £16,000 will mean that you have no entitlement to means tested support. And so it's really important if you are going to receive a compensation award that will give you more than £6,000 or will leave you with more than £6,000 in your account when added to your own savings, that you think about possibly setting up a personal injury trust.
And how do I go about that?
Okay, so a personal injury trust is about keeping your compensation money separate from your own money so that it can be easily identified as your compensation money and then is disregarded when looking at your means tested support and when they work out whether you're entitled to compensation.
Is there a time limit to set this up?
You need to set up the personal injury trust within 52 weeks of receiving your first payment in respect of your compensation. It's important that you do that as soon as possible. So for a lot of people, that might actually be before they receive any of their compensation, so that they have the personal injury trust up and ready and waiting to receive the money, and they can get on with having the benefit of their compensation fund as soon as possible. If you have already received some of your compensation money, then it is possible to set it up afterwards. But like I say, you have a 52-week window from receiving your first portion of your compensation in which to set up your personal injury trust without having any disruption to your benefits. If you go beyond that 52-week period, then you might find that there is some disruption to your benefits.
I want to buy a car and spend some of it, which will take me below the £6,000 limit. Is that okay, or can I spend as much as I want to get below the limit?
Yep. So if you receive your compensation money and you're within that 52 weeks, then you don't have to declare it for your means tested benefits. And so you can do whatever you want to do with it during that period. So if you want to spend it and you want to purchase a car, then that is absolutely fine. And if that will bring you below the benefits threshold of £6,000 by the end of that 52-week period, then again, you won't need to declare it to the Department for Work and Pensions. But if you haven't managed to spend it all and you get to the end of that 52-week period, then you will be under an obligation to declare what's left of it if it's taking you over that £6,000 threshold. For a lot of people, obviously they may already have earmarked how they're going to spend their compensation money, but for others they may not have in mind, or it's going to be such a large sum of money that they really need to have thought about in advance and have set up this trust fund. You could still buy the car, but you just would then buy it through the trust fund.
How much will it cost to set up a personal injury trust?
Well, that will depend on the type of trust that you need to set up, but for the most people it will be quite a straightforward and would be known as what's called a bare trust. That essentially means that all of the trust monies belong to the person who's had the injury, and it's treated as part of their money for everything except means tested support. And so in those cases it's not usually too expensive to set up. There are two sort of aspects to setting up the personal injury trust. One is to set up the document that sets out the rules of the trust, and that's called the trust deed. And the second aspect is to set up a trust bank account so that the money can be kept separate from your own money. If you are wanting to know more about costs, then I would suggest that you give us a call so that we can give you an idea about your individual circumstances, or have a look on our website where we've got up-to-date information about costs.
How long does it take to set one up?
Again, it will depend on how complicated the circumstances of your case are. But for most people, it will take a few weeks to set up the trust deed itself. And that's usually because we want to check with you that all the details are correct and make sure that we've got all the provisions in there that you want and need. And then after you've signed all the trust deed up, it will be a case of setting up the trust bank account. And that sometimes can take a few weeks because you're relying on the bank processing all the trustees' information and setting that account up there.
So how does it work from a day-to-day basis? If I want to buy something, can I buy something? Who decides that? Who decides what I can spend? How does it all work?
So it's important that when you set up the trust, you choose some trustees, and it'll be the trustees that release the money to you to buy what you need. All the trustees have got to agree and have to sign to release the money from the bank account. And
I can buy whatever I want, in theory?
There is no limit on what you can use the money for in the trust fund. You don't have to use it, for example, to buy care support package, unless that was a condition of you receiving the money from the as part of your compensation. So yeah, you can spend the money on whatever it is that you want. It's your money, and if you weren't happy with the trustees or with the trust arrangement, you would be able to call for that to be brought to an end at any time.
What happens when all the money's gone?
So the trust would naturally come to an end if there's no more money in the trust fund for the trustees to look after.
And who should I appoint as my trustees? Are there set guidelines?
You can appoint whoever you want to be your trustees. Obviously, it's important that you choose people that you trust and that you trust to look after the money on your behalf. If it's a particularly large award, you might want to choose trustees who've got the skills to manage the money for you and to give you some good investment advice, or to be wise about how to invest it and to use it. For some people, for example, if it's for a child or for somebody under a disability, the court might require there to be a professional trustee like a solicitor. But for most people, they would just choose family or friends, somebody that they believe is the right person to do the job and to have their best interests at heart. You can also be a trustee of your own trust fund, so long as you're capable of doing it.
Okay, thank you. I have no more questions.
So if you want any further information about personal injury trusts, either visit our website or give us a call.